In this video, you'll learn how to build an assessment, such as a quiz or test, in Alta, Knewton's fully integrated adaptive learning platform. Assessments formally assess student mastery of material with non-adaptive questions that you individually select based on the learning objectives. To begin, choose whether you would like to create this assessment in the parent course or in a child section. If you make an assessment in the parent course, it will populate to all the child sections. If you want the assessment to go only to an individual child section, enter that section first and follow the same instructions. To add your assessment to the parent course, click into the chosen course. If this is the first item you are adding, click Get Started. Otherwise, click Manage to modify your course outline. Click Add on the top right, and then select next to Assessment. First thing you'll want to do is enter in a name. Next, you can enter in a start date and start time, as well as a due date and due time. Then you can label this a test or a quiz. And lastly, click Next. To begin building your assessment, choose Add Alta Question to add questions authored by Knewton, or add Custom Question if you'd like to build your own questions. We'll add an Alta question. On the next page, you can select your objectives. First, you should choose your question preferences. You can decide if you'd like to include static or pool questions where available by default. Also, you will be able to choose whether you'd like to include 1 or 2 questions per objective by default. You can add more questions per objective in a later screen if desired. Click Apply to finalize your choices. You can also use the filters on top to see specific objectives. Assignment usage will display objectives already assigned or unassigned in adaptive assignments. Assessment usage will show the objectives already tested or untested in other assessments. And selection will show objectives already selected or not selected for the assessment being built or edited. Make sure to click Apply when you change these choices. You can then start searching for the objectives you'd like to include in your assessment. You can search for objectives on the top here by entering keywords in the search field, or you can expand the chapters below. Click the checkbox next to the objective you'd like to add assessment questions for. If you wish to add all objectives within a topic, hover over the topic, check the box, and then it will select all. Once you have selected your objectives and preferences, choose Done when you're ready to move on. On the next page, you can preview your assessment to see it as students will, or choose Edit to change the objectives you've added to the assessment. You can also see information about the questions you have added from the tags in the top right corner of the questions, including whether the question is compatible with printing or offline tests, compatible with Lockdown Browser, as well as whether they are static or pool questions. From here, you can also weight the number of points each question is worth by clicking on the point value displayed at the top of each question card. You can change the point value here, and then click Save. The total point value of the test will be calculated at the top of the test. Students will also see how many points each question is worth when taking the assessment and reviewing their scores. To add additional questions per objective, click the 3 dots next to the objective, and then click Edit Questions. From this page, you can add additional questions or remove those that are added by default. Choose Done when you're happy with your included questions. Once you have selected and reviewed your questions in your assessment, you can edit the order they appear for your students. Click Viewing by Objective on top. In the pop-up window, click Order, and then for display density, we do recommend choosing Collapsed. Then click Apply. Then just drag and drop the question in the order you would like it in, and it will save automatically. You'll notice the question number next to each of these questions. Lastly, we'll want to check our assessment settings. Click Settings on the top right. In the assessment settings, you can change the name, the start date and start time, as well as the due date and due time. You can also enable certain features. You can enable the review center. You can convert to offline. You can shuffle question order. You can enable a timer, allow multiple attempts. You can decide what to display to students before the due date and time, as well as enable security settings such as enable password protection or lockdown browser. Once you have changed these settings, click Save at the bottom. To return to the course outline, click the arrow next to the test name. If you scroll down, you will now see the assessment added to your course outline. To edit the assessment, click the 3 dots to the right of the assessment, and then click Edit. That is how you create an assessment in Knewton's Alta.